Hi, welcome to Macklaw. Today's topic is we'll be discussing the crime of incitement as well as the crime of high treason. And what brought about this topic is Steve Hofmeyr's controversial right-wing activist group called the Commando Spoch. But before we get into this topic, I'd just like to take a brief moment to pay homage and thank our viewers for supporting this initiative. Macklaw has been running, today will be its 14th consecutive show, which we have been running from the period of 2016 and 2017. And we would especially like to thank our viewers who has been commenting on our shows and also expressing their views, gratitude, as well as contentions to the opinions expressed on this platform. And that is exactly why Macklaw was created. To create a platform, and the opinions expressed on Macklaw was created as a catalyst to inspire public debate. So well done, guys, and keep them coming. And to those people who have not responded on yet, as soon as my cumbersome schedule clears up, I will definitely make sure that that's the first thing I do. Back to Steve. Steve Hofmeyr's activist group, the Commando Spoch, has been started in a protest to the way South Africans, especially South African liberals, has been using their right to freedom of expression as well as right to liberation after being oppressed for so many years to actually violently protest, as we discussed in Fees Must Fall, and violently seek the ways and also destroy and discard the history of the Afrikaans descended or Dutch descendant Afrikaans white people in our country today. And firstly, that I agree with. Today's people, previously disadvantaged people, cannot discard the fact that Dutch descendants or French Huguenot descendants are a part of our history, whether we like it or not. We might not have a part in their history, and they might not have a part in our history, but they have a part in South African history because they were born here. They are South African citizens. They pay allegiance to this country. So we cannot, neither one, previously disadvantaged or the descendants from white elitists cannot erase or disregard each other's history and each other's standing or newly found standing in case of in terms of the previously disadvantaged people in today's South African democracy. Number one. However, Hofmeyr's activist group, Commando Spoch, has started adopting a defensive and maliciously so attitude towards it. Commando Spoch is now perceiving a war that's going to rage against the Afrikaans or Dutch descendant whites, commonly known as the Boere. They believe that the black people are going to come and kill them on their farms because of the sporadic farm murders that has been happening. And now, as a result of that, Steve Hofmeyr, as the head of this Commando Spoch group, is now publicly on social media, television interviews, newspaper articles, he is inciting his group of people to actually stock up ammunition, stock up rifles, assault rifles, so that when this perceived war eventually does happen, then they'll be ready to defend themselves and kill these people. Here's the problem with that. Our law, our criminal justice system, has a crime called incitement. Now, incitement is not a crime on its own. Incitement has to be coupled with purporting to contravene the law. So, if Steve Hofmeyr is telling his people or his activist group members, arm yourselves, get ready, there's a war coming, they want to kill us. First of all, he's discrediting the government, and that might give rise to criminal defamation of our country. Second of all, he is now inciting people to actually hate black people and arm themselves in retaliation or in manifestation of such hate. So, in terms of Section 18, subsection 2 of the Riotous Behavior Act, he is now possibly or probably making himself criminally liable of the crime of incitement to possible genocide, hate crimes, even as far as high treason, because our government of the day was predominantly black, the ANC, it's new liberals, and this is an indirect protest on the government. He's also saying that the government has no regard for Dutch descendants or descendants from the previous white elites from the apartheid system. Now, let's look at those two crimes. Incitement versus treason. Treason is when somebody who pays allegiance to this country intentionally and unlawfully tries to overthrow our government, tries to threaten the government, tries to threaten its standing. Now, if you as a leader within your community or activist group, in expressing your freedom to expression or exercising that fundamental right as envisioned by Section 16 of the Constitution, doesn't do so responsibly and actually ignites a whole section of our nation to hate another section of the nation and actually hate our government and stand ready and arm themselves to defend themselves and take over the government and it threatens the dignity of the government of the day. Now, if you pay allegiance to this country, it doesn't matter who's in government. I mean, Donald Trump just became president of the United States. I'm sure there aren't liberals fixing to get machine guns and go and assassinate him, because that would be a crime. That would be incitement. That would be attempt to heinous crimes like murder or assassination or even high treason, as we're discussing right now. So, Mr. Hofmeyr and his activist group need to be extremely careful in how they exercise their rights to freedom of expression, which is granted to them by the fact that they are South Africans, by the fact that they are human. Remember, it's a fundamental right. However, those rights are placed under limitations so that we can create a peaceful and harmonious coexistence between people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and different descent. And when laws are created to fix the wrongs created by the past, then we should respect the government purely by the fact that we are South Africans and we pay allegiance to South Africans because we were born here. And therefore, irrespective if we agree or disagree with the methods created by the government to create that harmonious coexistence, we need to respect it. And if we do want to change it, the law has recourse for that. And you follow that thing. That's why there's lawyers. And that's why there's courts. That's why there's parliament. That is why there's the executive. And all of them collectively has a responsibility to the public of this nation in order to make sure that majorities, which is probably the liberals, the previously disadvantaged people that is now free, and as well as the minorities. For example, Mr. Hofmeyr and his Commando Spoor activist group. So whether you're right wing or left wing or leg arm wing, it's irrespective. You need to pay allegiance to this country and you need to respect the government of the day. You need to respect the office of the president even if you don't agree with him. There's many times Zuma makes a press conference or he even addresses parliament to who he is accountable as head of the executive, and I don't agree with him and I speak about it. That's why platforms like Macklaw are created. However, we need to do so with a due responsibility as well as paying or giving regard and respect to the next person's right to human dignity, freedom, and equality, which are the cornerstones of which the democracy, our constitutional democracy at that, are built on. And if you want to have an activist group and shout out and express grave contentions to the way people are behaving, like pulling down statues like John Cecil Rhodes and Paul Kruger, which I believe in that regard, the right-wing commando Spoor group are correct. You can't erase someone's history by pulling down a statue. 100% correct. But then, don't retaliate by saying, because these guys pull out statues, let's get arms. Let's stock a pile on ammunition. And when this perceived war is going to happen, let's kill them all. What is that? You know? So, what we need to do is we need to exercise our rights very responsibly. We need to start giving love and understanding for why people are acting in a certain way. And when we pose our disagreements, we need to sit down and we need to actually put ourselves in the foot of the other, which is a very onerous route. And the law even says that no person is endowed with the spirit of heroism or selflessness. So it's not something that's lawfully obliged from our citizens or legal subjects in South Africa, but it's something that really begs moral introspection. And I think without that moral introspection, no matter what the law says, our country will never come to that peaceful coexistence which we all so eagerly seek for. That's Rian van Wyk on Macklaw. Catch us next week. We'll have some more controversial topics.